I wanted to talk to you about secondary dominant chord scales. Now, this is a handout that you should find in your materials somewhere on the OL or in your handouts. And it has it has 5/7, the chord scale Mixolydian. We've already learned that. And then it has what the normal chord scales would be for all of the secondary dominants: 5/7 of 2, 5/7 of 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then it shows at the bottom an optional scale for, well, sorry, oh yes, and then it has a little elaboration down here for 5/7 of 6 and some more about 5/7 of 2. So anyway, let's take a look at what these scales have in common. So for 5/7 chord, that's Mixolydian, as you remember, 1, 3, 5, flat 7, 1. That will be the case for any dominant seventh because that's the formula for the dominants. For all of these dominants resolving down a fifth, like 5/7 or the secondary dominants, there will also be an S4 in this spot of the scale, and that's because that's an avoid note. It's not going to sound good with our chord. Okay, here's C major, and if we play that chord, we're not going to like that C against it. That's going to be an avoid note. Okay. What else? Now they have and also they all have some tensions in this part and this part over here. Okay, so this is in the 9 sort of place, and this is in the 13th place. And what we do is we use, because secondary dominants lead back to a target chord that's diatonic, we want to use diatonic tensions in these two places. So you'll see that none of these notes have any accidentals on them. These tensions, this is one exception, we'll talk about that, but other than that, none of them have an accidental in this spot, and that's because we want to use diatonic tensions to get to a diatonic chord. That's the target of the secondary dominant, will be diatonic. Okay, so what do we call these notes? Well, on 5/7 Mixolydian, of course, they're going to be the 9 and the 13. And again, 9 is because a whole step away from the root, and all major sixth from the root is major 6. You add 7, you get 13. So that's what we'll have here. All right. And so you'll notice that all of the other chord scales, the tensions are going to vary just a little bit. So in this case, A to B, that is a 9, yes. But what about A to F natural? That is a minor 6, so this will be a flat 13. All right. On 5/7 of 3, the tension here, C natural, is a flat 9. And over here, the G natural, this is a minor 6, so this is a flat 13. So you'll see the first 3 chords we've done here have all had slightly different tensions in these spots. So everything else is the same, right? But it's these tensions in these 2 spots that change. 5/7 of 4, we'll see C to D, that's a 9. And then C to A is a 6, major 6, so that's a 13. So that is also a Mixolydian chord scale, right? Just like this one. So we've had, this one's called Mixo flat 13 because it does have the 9, but it has a flat 13 here. This one's called Mixo flat 9 flat 13 because it has a flat 9 and a flat 9, flat 13. And if it's just called Mixolydian, it has a 9 and a 13. All right, so let's go on to 5/7 of 5 here. 5/7 of 5 has D to E, so that is going to be a whole step, 9. And 5 to, so D to B is a 6, so that's going to be a 13 over here. And 5/7 of 6 is going to have a flat 9 and a flat 13. So you may be noticing that if the target chord is a minor chord, 6 and 3, the tensions are going to be flat 9 and flat 13. And if the target chord is a major chord, the tensions are going to be 9 and 13. So you can sort of predict everything that way. But these are only the normal chord scales, and in real music, there may be exceptions to this practice. Okay, now 5/7 of 2 has 9 and flat 13, which is a little odd. You know, here's a major tension and here's a minor tension. And it turns out that on 5/7 of 2, often composers will use the flat 9 and the flat 13, even though the flat 9 is diatonic. So here's an example of using the flat 9 on the 5/7 of 2 would makes it sound even stronger going toward a minor target. 2 is a minor target. And finally, if you have a flat 9, like on 5/7 of 6, if you have a flat 9 and a flat 13, if you have a flat 9 that's diatonic and available, then often we'll get this thing called the sharp 9. And that looks like a flat 3, E to G, but it sounds like a tension, that's the chord tone, that's the chord tone. So what's that? It's not a chord tone. That G is not a third. It's a sharp 9 respelled as a flat 3. And notice that the sharp 9 will almost always be diatonic. This is diatonic to the key. Okay, so that's basically it. 1, 3, 5, flat 7, 1, that's consistent. S4 is consistent through all these chords, but these tensions on these two spots will change, and you just have to go by what is diatonic. Okay, now, so let's just practice a couple of these, and I wanted to show you here, this is the key of D major, and we have 5/7 of 3. So, first thing we're going to do is spell 5/7 of 3 correctly, and that's C sharp 7. So here's C sharp, and here's my chord tones. Okay, write chord tones, label pitches. Right now, we're going to need some accidentals with any secondary dominant. In this case, we need an E sharp and a G sharp. So that's our 1, 3, 5, flat 7, 1, and then we want to put an S4 in. So that will be F sharp. And then we want to put in the diatonic tensions. Notice we're going to get a flat 9 here and a flat 13 here because of the half step, C sharp to D, and C sharp to A is a minor 6th, so that's a flat 13. And remember, if we have a flat 9, we're going to include a sharp 9 in the key signature. This will be mixo, flat 9, sharp 9, flat 13. Because we have a minor target, so it uses the minor tensions. These are the minor tensions. And if we have 5/7 of 4, that's going to be D7. So that'll be D, F sharp, A, C, D. We need, again, an accidental here, always on a secondary dominant. And so we put in the chord tones here. We're going to put in S4 in between. We are going to include tensions of 9 and 13 that are diatonic. So here is E, and here is B. They're diatonic, and they're going to be labeled like this. And we don't have to worry about flat 9 and sharp 9 here because this one has a natural 9. As soon as you see a natural 9 diatonic, you're done. So this is going to be called the Mixolydian. Again, if you are going to a major target, the chord scale is Mixolydian. If you're going to a minor target, it's usually mixo, flat 9, sharp 9, flat 13, but it could be slightly different for 5/7 of 2. Okay, so that's a little bit on secondary dominant tensions. See you soon.